G'day. Just poked myself in the eye, but I'm feeling alright now. If I sort of wince and look like I'm crying, I'm not really. Oh man, no, men don't cry, do they? Okay, we're talking about the compass diagram: mystery, experience, reason, and law. And we've talked about the first three. We're going north. We're going to talk about mystery. Well, where does mystery fit into things? The Bible's full of it. I mean, you think of the very act of creation. Well, who really understands it? Even the scientists, run out of adjectives to describe what happened there. And at the other end of the Bible, when you read Revelation, you think, well, what in the world is that about? You read the experiences of Ezekiel the prophet, or of Paul when he says, I was taken up into the seventh heaven. And even, the transfiguration of Jesus. We realise, well, out on the perimeter of what we think is normal life, there are these paranormal or extraordinary or supernatural experiences that you can't really put a rational sort of boundary around, the sort of super rational, if you like. Well, what does that mean? Are they invalid? Well, of course not. If God's God, then he's going to be bigger than anything we can understand. I think Job was told, can a man by reasoning understand God? Well, you would hope not, because then he'd be less than us. You expect the mind that made the universe to be larger and greater and grander than anything we can imagine. And so when Job was struggling to understand the experiences that he went through, in the long run, God pulled him up and said, okay, Job, sit down, shut up, listen. I'm God. And then, were you there when I made the world? Were you there? Well, he puts him in his place, not to be rude, but he's trying to give him the right relationship. That is, I'm the creator, you're a creature. If you want to understand me, then you've got to stand under. You've got to sort of be in the right relationship to the mystery of God. Of course you'll never understand all of God. That's the joy of it. That doesn't mean you can't understand him. The law that we've talked about and our reason and our experience teaches us the other. We can know God. And Jesus came into the world for that explicit reason, so that the grand mystery of God could be made sort of pint-sized so we can understand him and we could begin to get a window into the nature of God. But that's the glory of God. To look out on his world, to look at the mysteries in the micro world of what happens inside a cell. There's a whole library with billions of letters in every cell of our body that defines who we are through DNA, and the genome thing is amazing, isn't it? And then you look out on the billions of stars in God's universe, and I think he put these things there just to keep us in perspective, to say, listen, there are mysteries beyond your comprehension. I put these stars, this roof of stars and this magnificent universe above you to keep you in perspective, to see that you're not really the king of the castle. You're not really ruling the roost down here. You're only part of a magnificent thing that God has invited you to be part of. So don't be afraid of the mystery of God. It's right that there should be mystery, that there should be things beyond our understanding, that we can stand in awe and begin with the fear of the Lord, the proper understanding of the Lord, to appreciate the greatness and the grandeur of God's universe is just a rich and true experience to have, but not to make us feel so kind of inconsequential that we don't matter, but rather, on the other hand, to feel so amazed that the God who made this whole thing, as Jesus taught us, the Father in heaven knows you. He knows how many hairs are in your head. He knows when a sparrow falls to the ground. That's part of his greatness, that his eternity and his infinity isn't meant to take us away from him, but it's also meant to bring him intimately close. He's immanent. He's part of us. He loves us. And yet he's big enough to rule this whole universe, to keep the whole thing together. So when you put the four together, you're starting to get the picture now and understand where this is travelling. It's only a tool, it's not bulletproof, but it's helping you sort of peg out your experience. Well, you might have become a Christian through a mystical experience. You might have become a Christian through some experience down here, through a community, or through some special moment in your life. Maybe it was just through logic. You sort of reasoned your way to God, or perhaps just hearing the Bible taught to you made it plain. Or it may be a mixture of all these things. They're all valid, and I'll explain that next time.